He just wanted a steak. But when the waitress handed him with a check, everything changed. Nobody looked twice when he walked in. Not at first. It was a slow Wednesday afternoon in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Heat shimmered off the blacktop, and a tired silence hung in the air, making everything feel heavier. The steakhouse sat in a faded strip mall between a liquor store and a check-cashing spot. Nothing special. Just another place to grab lunch, pass through, and forget. But Daniel Whitmore wasn't just passing through. He stepped inside wearing worn denim, boots with more years than polish, a faded cap pulled low, and a brown leather jacket that had clearly seen miles. He moved the way older black men learn to move in unfamiliar places. Calm, quiet, with no sharp edges. Eyes steady, voice low, posture neutral. Not out of fear, out of habit. The young host barely looked up from his screen. "Table for one." "Yeah," Daniel replied evenly. "Somewhere quiet, if it's not too much trouble." The host led him to a booth near the front window. Table 7, facing the room, with a clean view of the kitchen door. Daniel slid into the seat and let his hands rest flat on the table. His eyes moved, not his head. He was watching. He picked up the menu and scanned it like someone new to the place. But he already knew what he wanted. Daniel Whitmore wasn't just a customer. He was the owner. The founder of what used to be a proud southern chain, Whitmore's Chop House. Started with one spot in Tulsa back in '96, grew it into 17 restaurants across 5 states. Then he stepped back, let others run day-to-day while he focused on operations, partnerships, and lately, fighting to keep his legacy alive. This Fort Smith location was bleeding. Bad Yelp reviews, slow ticket times, staff turnover, numbers that didn't add up. His team had excuses. Daniel didn't want excuses. He wanted truth. Unfiltered. So he came himself. Unannounced. Undercover. The restaurant was half full. Quiet. Tired. The servers moved like they were walking on eggshells, and the kitchen staff barely peeked out through the swinging doors. Then she walked up to his table. "Afternoon, sir. My name's Jenna. I'll be taking care of you today." Daniel looked up and met her eyes. White, mid to late 20s, hair in a messy bun, sleeves pushed up. She looked exhausted and guarded. "Afternoon," Daniel said. "What do folks usually order here?" Jenna glanced at the menu like it personally offended her. "Ribeyes still decent. Comes with mashed potatoes and collards." "Let's do that. Medium rare." She nodded and walked off without another word. Daniel leaned back, scanning the room again. Near the bar stood a big guy, buzz cut, tight polo shirt, arms crossed, watching the staff like they were liabilities. That had to be the manager. The steak came out quicker than expected. Good. Cooked right. The kitchen still had some pride left, but the vibe was still wrong. Jenna came back, eyes low, refilled his coffee, and set the check down with a folded receipt tucked inside. Daniel waited, then opened the note. Not a receipt. Written in blue ink. 6 words. "If you're really who I think you are, please don't leave without talking to me." Daniel blinked. Read it again. His pulse didn't spike. His face didn't change. But everything inside him shifted. Across the room, in the reflection of the window, he saw her. Jenna, watching him but not directly. She was serious. He had come for answers. But now he knew he was sitting in the middle of something bigger than missing money. Whatever this was, it had roots. He sat still, gripping the note under the table. In 6 short words, Jenna had confirmed 2 things. 1. She knew exactly who he was. 2. Something bad was happening here. And it wasn't about slow service. Daniel had seen this before. Not in this exact way, but in spirit. People working scared. Managers hiding things. Stories buried under routine. But here, someone had actually reached out. Quietly. Bravely. He glanced toward the kitchen again. The big guy, Bryce, he'd overheard earlier, still stood near the pass, pretending to read a clipboard. But Daniel could tell. Bryce was watching everything. Not just the food, the people. The kind of manager who wanted fear more than respect. Daniel stood slowly, dropped a few bills on the table, and walked toward the front. The host mumbled, "Have a good night, sir." Daniel didn't respond. Instead of heading straight out, he turned down the narrow hallway marked employees only. Behind him came Bryce's flat, suspicious voice. "Sir, restrooms are on the other side." Daniel paused, turned slightly, looking for the manager. "That would be me," Bryce replied, sharp but sweet. "You free to talk?" "About what?" "Just a word with my server." "You got a complaint, you bring it to me. You don't pull my staff off the floor. That's not how this works." Daniel looked him square in the face, calm. "Then I guess you'll have to get used to it working different." There was a long pause. Bryce studied him, then scoffed. "She's probably in the back closing up." Daniel turned without another word. He found Jenna carrying a crate of lemons. Her eyes widened slightly. Fear, urgency. "What are you doing back here?" she hissed. "Got your note," Daniel said. "Now talk." She pulled him into the storage closet. The small space smelled like cleaning supplies and burnt fryer oil. "I wasn't sure you'd even stay," she said. "You said something wasn't right." Jenna rubbed her face. "Bryce isn't just rude. He's dangerous. Food deliveries go missing. Liquor counts don't add up. Cash drawers are always off. He cuts hours on the schedule, then clocks people out early so payroll doesn't see it. And no one speaks up. We're scared. If you do, he writes you up or takes you off the board." Daniel took it all in. "Why tell me? I worked at your Bentonville location 6 years ago. You probably don't remember. You gave me a $100 tip for helping a choking customer. Said I had initiative." Daniel blinked. "I remember. I saw your face today. Didn't think you'd come back. Not like this." Daniel nodded. "I needed to see it for myself." "Well," Jenna said, "you're seeing it." He studied her and saw himself. "I'm coming back tomorrow. But not as a stranger." Jenna swallowed, looked at the door. "Then you should leave through the side. Bryce has cameras on the front." Daniel slipped the note into his pocket. "You gonna be all right? I've made it this far." He nodded and walked out the back door. That night, he checked into a cheap motel. At 10:17 p.m., his phone buzzed. Text. "Side lot by the dumpster. 11 p.m. Come alone." By 10:58, he was there. At 11:03, Jenna slipped out the back door. Hoodie up, moving fast. "Thanks for showing up," she whispered. "I said I would," Daniel replied. She handed him a small silver key, wrapped in a napkin. "That opens his locker. Black duffel bag. He keeps a second phone in there." "You've been watching him." "Someone had to. You know this puts you at risk." "My job was already at risk the minute I started asking questions. But I can't keep watching him walk over people." Daniel nodded slowly. As he walked away, he called back. "If you get pushback for talking to me, tell them exactly who I am." "And who's that?" "The man who built this place." The next day, Daniel returned. Same jacket, same jeans, same scuffed boots. Staff moved faster today. Tension still hung in the air, but something had shifted. Jenna moved differently. Still cautious, but lighter. Bryce stepped out, clipboard in hand, fake smile barely hanging on. "Back again," he said. "Food solid," Daniel replied. "Thought I'd see if it holds up 2 days in a row." Bryce lingered, then walked off. But he knew. Something was coming. After lunch, Daniel slipped into the staff locker room. The key fit. In Bryce's duffel he found gym clothes, a bottle of cologne, and a burner phone. No passcode. Contacts listed only as initials. Texts. Venmo screenshots. Then cash. Rolled tight. Small denominations. In the office, in the second drawer, he found the little black ledger Jenna mentioned. Pages of forged logs. Rounded down tips. Shaved hours. Missing inventory. Then the door creaked open. Bryce stood there, no smile now. "You think you're slick," he said. Daniel stayed calm. "I'm not walking out as a customer. I'm walking out as the man whose name is on the lease." Bryce froze. Daniel stepped closer. You've been stealing, threatening people, covering your tracks like a rookie. But paper never lies. You think this ends with me? Bryce sneered. I already know how deep it goes, Daniel said. The next morning, his phone rang. Dan, Glenn said. You've been poking around. We needed numbers to stabilize. Bryce was getting it done. You mean he was stealing? Come on, Dan. We go way back. I had to make decisions. Daniel's voice hardened. You don't hire someone like Bryce without knowing what he's willing to do. You brought him in to do the dirty work while you stayed clean. What do you want? Glenn finally asked. I want you gone. You can't make that call. I'm still the founder. And I've got proof. Later that evening, Daniel gathered the staff. No jacket, no disguise. You all deserve better, he told them. And I should have shown up sooner. Bryce is gone. Glenn's next. Anyone else hiding something? Leave now. Tomorrow we start rebuilding. The room was quiet, but heads nodded. Shoulders relaxed. 2 days later, Glenn tried to bury him with a cease and desist letter. Daniel didn't flinch. You're getting close, his lawyer said. Let him file. Daniel met with a local reporter. Together, he and Jenna told the whole story. Staff across the chain emailed him, sharing their own stories. Monday morning, Jenna found an envelope on her locker. Inside, a promotion. General manager. Full-time. Benefits. You earned it, Daniel told her. No one's ever backed me like this, she said. You backed yourself. I just made sure it stuck. The Fort Smith location transformed. New rhythm. New respect. Word spread. Weeks later, Daniel met with the CEO at Table 7. We'd like you back, the CEO said. Then you start by showing up for the people you ignored, Daniel replied. You'll have it, the CEO finally agreed. That night, Daniel handed Jenna a bonus. For the day you spoke up, the note read. She smiled faintly. You already said the hard part, he told her. Late that night, Daniel sat alone in a booth. The place smelled like bleach and fresh rolls. He took a bite of grits, looked around. This was never just about steak. It was about people. The overlooked. The silenced. If you've ever worked under someone who misused their power, or been afraid to speak, let this story remind you. Change doesn't start with a title. It starts with courage. Speak up, show up, and back the people who risk everything to do the right thing.